Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. I hope you enjoyed those matches this week. Today, we'll go through what happened in the Champions League, give some opinions, and I'll have you home before 9 o'clock. I'll be a good date. Real Madrid versus Chelsea in an extremely rainy Alfredo Di Stefano stadium was fine. It was a fine match of football. It wasn't an open match at all, but I mean, what would you expect from two teams such as these, right? It was always going to be a chess match. That said, Chelsea were certainly worthy of the goal they managed to score away to Real Madrid, if not more. Looking at the XG for this match, Chelsea's was 1.7, while Real Madrid's was 0.7. A fine showing from Chelsea going forward, if not for lacking in some clinicality, which tends to be their Achilles heel, doesn't it? Well, not so much an Achilles heel as more of a weakness for them. And wouldn't you know it, Timo Werner stole the headlines again after he failed to convert from point blank against Thibaut Courtois. Now, don't get me wrong, Courtois did excellently to get across and get a foot on it, and he deserves some plaudits for doing everything right from a technical point of view, but this was more of a failed finish than a massive save. And I feel for Werner, and I get asked about him all the time, and I stand by my belief that he is still a quality player. He's still second when it comes to Chelsea's highest scorers and has been involved in plenty of goals for Chelsea with his assists as well. It's just his finishing that has been brutal since about November or so. He still makes decent runs, he still sets up his teammates, he just has the finishing of a Sunday League player at the moment. He's underperforming with his expected goals, whereas in the last couple of seasons, he was overperforming, as most elite finishers do. I think it's way too early to say he's finished, or that Chelsea should shift him. Since when does a bad half season constitute a player being finished or worthy of sale? Where has our patience gone, man? It's crazy reactions in my opinion. Try to look at the positives. He's still contributing. He just needs to address that one area of his game as he gets settled in a new country, at a new club, in a new league. Anyway, rant over. Chelsea did well to control this match for the most part, and their goal was a great one. Pulisic controlling, running away from Courtois, and leaving him for dead before banking the ball in off of Varane. Deserved goal for Chelsea. They continued to control this match for the most part. Real Madrid only finding their way back into it thanks to a moment of brilliance from who else but Karim Benzema. While Real Madrid improved in the second half, they never really troubled Mendy. That second half was a tedious watch, as they can be with these two sides involved, as they both favor the result over the style or flair at the moment. A lot of 1-0 and 2-1 wins from them, and that's okay. There's more than one way up to the top of the football pyramid, you know? Well, Chelsea, of course, defended well. Real Madrid's Eder Militão was immense also. I think where Zidane will have been let down is what was Marcelo doing out there? I guess that's a question for Zidane also. Why was he out there? I guess because he wanted to play with three at the back, and his thinking was, well, if I relieve Marcelo of his defensive duties, which is his Achilles heel, his ability on the ball and his delivery will be a boon to Real Madrid in Mendy's absence. But my man was just floating around, not really having any effect on the match. A bit of a, I hate to say this, but a waste of space out there. I think that Zidane will absolutely change to a 4-3-3 for the second leg, just as he did in the second half against Chelsea, and they were improved in the second half. Well, I expect the same from Tuchel, 3-4-2-1 to oblivion and back, baby. But hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and Chelsea's approach is getting them results against some of the biggest teams and managers in Europe. He's undefeated against guys like Guardiola, Simeone, Klopp, Mourinho, now Zidane. The issue for Zidane is that if he does play four at the back, who plays left back? Nacho, Odriozola? I mean, whoever it is, they won't be a natural left back, that's for sure, and it will be an area for Chelsea to exploit. Real Madrid's back line has been hammered by injuries. By the way, Marcelo will be out for the second leg as he has to complete his civic duty. He was chosen to work at a polling station during the elections in Madrid and won't be able to get out of it, which is bizarre. The reaction from most of Real Madrid supporters was that they are happy he won't be available. An unfortunate reaction, but understandable. So no doubt that it is absolutely advantaged Chelsea, and with the way they defend, you would expect them to see it through. I do question whether they will regret some of the chances they missed, regret not fully killing Real Madrid in that first leg, as this Madrid side has been here before and turned situations like this around, but they will have to be way better. Better performances from guys like Modric, that would be crucial, as Kante pocketed much of Madrid's midfield, really. Better performances from Benzema's supporting cast is vital as well. Whether it's Vinicius, Asensio, Rodrigo, whoever it is. Oh man, what a match. I know myself and the rest of you that joined me for the watch along really enjoyed this one, as it was basically the definition of a match of two halves, where once all was said and done, Manchester City came out on the other side with a 2-1 win away to PSG. 2 vital away goals to put one foot in the Champions League final, or at the very least, put them a step ahead of PSG. The first half was entirely PSG. They were completely dominant in the first 45, as Neymar and Di Maria were running riot out there, as Mbappe, he did struggle to impose himself on the match, didn't he? There was a moment in the first half where a ball was played over the top, in behind Stones and Walker, and it was Mbappe's first touch. If it was better, he could have set himself up perfectly for a strike, but his attempt at chesting the ball down was poor, and that was sort of the name of the game for him. But PSG's first half was certainly impressive, and they got their goal thanks to a great delivery from Angel Di Maria from a corner, and Marquinhos' glancing header left Ederson stranded. A deserved goal for PSG, as they were electric, while City they just weren't themselves in that first half. They were flat-footed, they were getting dominated in both possession and opportunities. All hands on deck defending, mistakes at the back from Ederson and everyone else. It just simply wasn't City out there. And Mbappe wasn't Mbappe out there. But he wasn't a total ghost either. He had a moment in the second half as well where he had Stones and Dias on roller skates before putting it on a plate for Verratti. And maybe had Verratti made a connection on the ball, maybe if Verratti was a few inches taller, he would have tied things up, and there would be... After a spell of excellent pressure from Manchester City, Kevin De Bruyne's ball into the box went untouched by all, including Keylor Navas. Unfortunately for him, it went straight into his goal. I mean, the optics of that goal looked bad for Navas, and yes, it could be considered a blunder, but after seeing the replay, and I mean, I guess it is a blunder, let's call it what it is, but after seeing the replay, I immediately felt bad for him. You know, judging the bounce of the ball with that half second to take stock of all the players in front of you and make a decision based on that. Players like the onrushing John Stones, who was closest to reaching the ball and diverting it. I mean, he was setting himself up to spring toward the ball, Navas that is, to make a save from the diversion, which never came, leaving him rooted to the spot, and it went straight in. It's very much unfortunate, but a game of margins. Another example, a City free kick outside of the box, and Riyad Mahrez hits it well, or at least well enough, serviceably well, given the circumstances, because here are the circumstances. Pernell Kimpembe and Paredes jump away from each other, about a match ball's width away from each other, which was just enough for the actual match ball to make its way through the PSG wall untouched, and by the time Navas could see it, it was firing past him. It was too late. A game of margins. But the beauty is in the details for City, as you have to take into account the decision to set up a 3-man wall of their own to block Navas' view. In doing so, Navas had no idea whether he could expect a strike from De Bruyne or Mahrez, and I mean, that buys them a few seconds of, delayed reaction time from the keeper as well. All these little things add up. After 45 minutes, it really felt as though City were missing the threat of a striker. A few crosses and driven square balls through the box went unchallenged by City attackers. And that trend absolutely continued in the second half as well. I thought that Guardiola would for sure bring in either Aguero or Gabriel Jesus, as the threat was there, the chances were there, and they're begging for someone to drive towards goal to apply the finishing touch. But I mean, hey, there's a reason why Pep is one of the best managers of all time, and why I'm sitting here talking to you. The second leg will certainly be a really interesting one, as neither of the ties are dead yet. But there are distinct advantages to the English sides. In this tie in particular, I expect a much better showing from PSG in the second leg. A fired up Neymar is a scary sight. And if Mbappe can impose himself and get the better of Dias or Stones on one or two occasions, get in behind, then PSG absolutely have a chance. But man, 2 goals needed, it's going to be difficult. Not impossible, but difficult. Oh, and I don't know about losing Idrissa Gueye as the biggest loss. Yes, he is one of their best midfielders, but Danilo can fill in well. Verratti could even drop deeper. Neymar could play as the 10, Mbappe on the right. Icardi is the striker. I mean, they have options. Regardless, I'm very excited for the second legs of these 2 matchups. Thankfully, we don't have long to wait. We'll know who the finalists are by this time next week. So thanks again for watching and for all of your support. It's very much appreciated, and have a great day. Ciao.